Hi there, I'm Shane Spiers and welcome to another edition of the Performance Brief where we give you one breakthrough business idea in less than 5 minutes. My guest today is Eric Purvis. Eric, a very warm welcome. Where are you today?
In Perth, Australia, my friend.
Lovely. And I understand it's pretty warm as well.
Well, as a matter of fact, mate, I'm sitting here with the air conditioner running. So yes, it is a little on the warm side.
Brilliant. So, for those of you that don't know him, Eric is a managing director of many companies. Unlike most coach consultants who do not run multiple businesses on autopilot, Eric walks the talk. He has run his own companies for most of his adult life, starting his first business at the tender age of 19. Since then, he has run transport companies, entertainment companies, consulting companies, property companies, a finance company, and is on the board of a couple of charities. He is a graduate of the prestigious Company Directors course run by the Australian Institute of Company Directors. He was also on a national committee to advise the Australian standards on a new standard. He is the chair of two non-for-profit charities giving back to the community. Wow, when do you get time to have some fun?
Mate, I was just wondering about that. I've also got 3 kids, so I don't know where I fit all this in. I might have to do a pulse check and make sure I'm still alive.
Classic. Brilliant. So, Eric, the title of our interview today is The Battle of Business, which is the title of your recently published book, and we have 5 minutes for the interview. Are you ready?
Yep. Go.
Great. I'll start my timer. So, let's start. What was the reason for writing the book, The Battle of the Business?
Yeah, great question. Look, over the years, I've helped a lot of business owners go from zero to hero, and I decided it might be a good idea to write a book about it. But to write a book in a more entertaining way. Many of the business books that I've read, and you've probably read them too, as many of your listeners have probably read them as well, they're like eating straw. And it's difficult to connect with a book that's a lot of technical, and if you're anything like me, it's a great cure for insomnia. So I wrote a book that's got some characters in it, it's got a bit of a story, it's got a plot, it's got an outcome that's somewhat uplifting. And there's also stuff in there for the significant other. So it's not just for the business owner who's reading technical stuff. There's a nice storyline in there as well. So it's also written in an Australian style. So it's written with the way I speak and with my language.
Yeah.
And it's got a bit of Aussie language in it. So it's certainly not one for the kids. I wouldn't buy it for them for Christmas.
So what are the lessons that can be learned from the book and from your own experience of business?
Sure. Look, in the book we follow a journey of a guy who goes from complete despair to the point of contemplating suicide as a way of getting out of his troubles, and he ends up being on a cruise with his family. Now, the book is based on a real-life case study. It's a real story of what actually happened to someone, and obviously we've changed the names to protect their identity, because as you can understand, if your kids were reading that, they wouldn't want to know about Dad contemplating suicide. Yeah. So we've changed the names of people in there, but the story is real. Mm-hmm. And the lessons to be learned is that business does not have to be hard. It has to have a system, and the system runs the business and the people run the system. Now you need to find good people, and that's covered in the book as to how to find them. And when business is going through the sorts of change that you need to get a business so that it runs on autopilot, unfortunately, some of the original staff find it a little bit difficult to want to change, so sometimes you've got to change them and move them on. What has to happen from the business owner's point of view is that they have to have a mind shift, and the mind shift is that the tail doesn't wag the dog. The dog wags the tail. If you're the boss, you're the business owner, you've got your assets on the line, the bank's going to come knocking at your door, not your manager's door or your salesman's door, they're going to knock on your door if something goes wrong. So you run your business your way, and it should be the right way. And if it is, everything will be wonderful in the world.
And is that an easy thing to do?
Hell no. Hell no. If it was easy, I wouldn't have written the book, and consultants like myself wouldn't have a job. The bottom line is that it can be easy if you've got some sort of guidance and a bit of a framework to use and some tools to rely on to put it together. But sadly, in our modern world, we have a situation where lots of people are taught technical stuff. For example, let's talk the mechanic, if you like. A mechanic is finishes his trade. He's a very good mechanic. He's great at what he does, but nobody's taught him about how to read leases. No one's taught him about financial management of the business. No one's told him about marketing. No one's told him about human resource management, health and safety, customer interaction, marketing, process development, staff inductions. The list goes on. That's not taught at trade school. So you might be a very good mechanic, but really shit at running a business. And at the end of the day, you need somebody to come along and give you some structure, some framework, some direction, some guidance, and then it starts to get a lot easier. And you can rediscover the passion that you had for your business when you first started it, when you were all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, before you got worn down by reality.
So, and you talk about, what do you mean by the mistake?
In many cases, people that go on and create a business but don't get any help, they get a situation where they wake up one day and they hate what they do, they're stressed, and they don't want to do anything more, so they decide that they're going to sell it. And that's their first mistake.
Yeah.
And the mistake of that is that when the business owner decides he doesn't want to be there anymore and he's had enough, 9 times out of 10, nobody else wants to be there either.
Right.
So you end up in a situation where you're trying to sell a job and there's not too many people that want to buy a job. So the next problem that they create is that they then ring the business broker or the business salesperson and says that I want to sell a business. Now, the business salesperson is there to sell a business. That's what you called him for. But the problem is that the business salesperson isn't there to look after the owner's interests. He's only there to sell the business. And when you're selling the business and you're in a position of despair, you're not going to be attracting a very good multiple for the business, which means that you're not going to get maximum dollars for the effort you've put in. So you need to plan, and you need to plan your exit well. And that's all part of what Exit Planners does, and it's a little bit related to what the book's about.
Right.
Is if you're planning your business and systemising your business, you're getting your business running so that it runs on autopilot, it then becomes very attractive to an acquirer. So then when you are working through that process, you have a situation where people come and talk to you and they want to buy off you. Because in a lot of cases, there's only, I think statistics show that of businesses that go to market for sale, only 21% of them actually do sell.
Right.
So 79% of businesses that go to market disappear into thin air.
Wow.
That's an awful lot of value that's been evaporated and gone without a trace. All that human capital, all the asset, all the knowledge, all the experience, it's all gone.
Wow. So, sadly, we've come to the end of our time, Eric. There will be a link below the video for your book, Battle of the Business. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.